Billy, would you be kind enough to give me some assistance with something here?
That's what I'm here for.
I'm at a bit of a loss here in that we are approaching one of the biggest sporting things this city has ever seen. And I've got an Africa vacation planned at the end of the week because I planned for this. I planned for the possibility that there would be a Game 7 and a parade. And my question to you, Billy, is where's Stugotz?
I don't know. I heard that his flight was canceled this morning, but I don't know.
But flight to what?
Flight home.
But
He was gone. Yeah, he left. I don't know if you caught this past week's episode of God Bless Football. Stugotz wasn't there either because I found out the day before he just couldn't record, even though he told me that he had 2 guests scheduled this week. Don't worry, buddy, we're good. I said, okay, perfect. And then the day before, I'm flying. I can't record this week. Why don't you just handle it by yourself? And that I did, but I don't know where he is. Well, that's not true. He's in Las Vegas. He's watching the Sphere again because, you know, what they say, got to see that more than once.
I did see God Bless Football, and I felt wholeheartedly for you attaching yourself to something that does that because you ended up doing the show by yourself, which is not what God Bless Football is.
Are you saying it was a bad episode?
I'm just saying.
What are we implying
that
here?
supposed to
Hold
mean?
on a second. I thought that I did.
What does he mean by that?
All things considered, I did a bang-up
Incredible
job.
job,
I thought,
Billy.
yeah, very short notice. I got some guests on, promoted some charitable work.
Billy and Mikey A were dancing with that chemistry.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry. Is this a shit on Billy parade? Because you guys used to that after what you did to Greg Cody last Friday, which was horrible. That public Gregsecution that you guys decided to pull off.
Thank you, Billy.
Ridiculous.
Billy's got that, man.
Greg, let me tell you a story. Billy was supposed to be in on Friday, and at 6:40 a.m. they said, Billy, don't come in. And they knew that they were going to try to commit a murder. And they didn't want any defense for Greg whatsoever.
Oh, my G.
Oh, my G is right.
OMG.
Oh, my G.
I could have used you, Billy. Believe me, I could have used you.
I'm going to tell you something. There's a funny little game that's being played here where it's like we want everybody involved on the Panthers bandwagon. We want everybody to enjoy this Panthers run until old Billy Gill tries to get credentialed to cover the Panthers, and then there's a big blockade of that. And then it's like, well, all right, Game 6, one of the biggest games in franchise history. Billy's excited to come in and celebrate the Panthers right along with everybody else. Another blockade because they're planning this Gregsecution that they pulled off the other day. Then, lest you think that this ends here. On the other side, in the production side over there, there's also some blockades going on. The group there goes together. They watch the games at this bar. No invite. And I've been told, not no invite to me. That's fine. I understand that. That's okay. It's all right. But I've been told that there's some gatekeeping going on there where they're actively keeping people away that have gone to them saying, you're bad luck. You're no longer allowed to go to this.
Billy, what's happening around here
Ethan did that.
Concerns me. It concerns me because there are a whole bunch of people around here now being proprietary about their bandwagon.
Crazy. And blaming others for their misfortunes. Poor Greg catches all these strays when, if I remember correctly, Greg wrote an article, and then the Panthers won 3 straight games, if I remember correctly. And then all of a sudden, people start breaking their routines, and the Panthers start losing, and it's all Greg Cody's fault. Yep. How does that check out?
You know, Billy, as always, is right. And
Thank you, Greg.
And in this case, that is my absolute defense, okay? Because I'm going to admit it right here. If I wrote what I wrote...
It's a big if, first of all. If you wrote that.
Right. If I wrote what I wrote and the Panthers got swept...
If you wrote what you wrote up 3-0, I'd kill you.
If you wrote it. Or that. But I write it in advance. They get a 3-0 lead. I'm not taking the credit, but they get a 3-0 lead. And then what do they do?
That's magnanimous of you to not take credit.
Okay, but that's important to say because just like I didn't take credit for 3-0, I'm not going to take blame if they end up losing.
I'll remind you all, Greg is a journalist. He doesn't really have a horse in this race. He's just writing things as he sees them, previewing games as he sees them. And you're trying to attach some sort of curse, some sort of fandom, really anything you can. It feels like you guys are just throwing a bunch of shit at the wall and hoping it sticks on Greg. And Greg's the wall here.
Thank you. And by the way, I've had a dream that my racehorse Calmly actually was trotting around the ice during a Panthers game.
How'd it go?
Beautiful dream.
Love that.
But you're right. Other than that, I don't have a horse in this race.
So the horse was able to run on ice.
Yes, it
Beautifully.
was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Can a horse run on ice?
It was great.
This has escalated to an uncomfortable place. I need to get an update on what's going on with you and Mike Ryan. But thankfully, Stugotz, it's very disappointing that he's not here for legitimately one of the biggest games ever played. But heroic Greg Cody and his 2.5-week-old mustache are here.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Probably going to be the loudest ring I've ever been in my life is what I'm expecting. I can't even express the feeling of excitement around the city right now with everybody. You know, the build up throughout this whole season and throughout the whole playoffs just comes down to this. So I'm expecting it to be as loud as any building I've ever heard in my life.
I hate serious anthems. What a great night we're headed into. Hell yeah. Game 7 at home. The thing you dream about. Greg Cody of the Miami Herald, the ultimate South Florida historian on sports. No one in our market has covered bigger games more. No one. In the history of our market, Edwin Pope's got him beat. But living, barely. Living, coughing, and wheezing, Greg Cody is a historian in South Florida. And I want to ask you and the group, give me the other games that rise to this level that have been played in this city for this city. One game for your life.
That have been played in this city? Actually, South Florida has not had a Game 7 for a championship on the road.
True.
So they've all been all the Game 7s that have been for championships have been in this.
I'm thinking
in this market.
Super Bowls on the road. I'm thinking about national championship football games on the road.
Yeah, but you don't. Let's put the single games aside. The singular championship game, like 7-game series, 97 World Series, which actually did have a little bit of blueprint to it because you knew that Huizenga was going to break up that team, so that felt for a lot. That felt like really, really big. Game 7 with the Miami Heat and Spurs was a bit of a different series because they had Game 6 and Game 7 at home, the Ray Allen shot, and the Heat had won the championship the year before, so the pressure of the blueprint wasn't on there. It was just, can you win a second straight one?
Oh, but no, there was the pressure that was on that. Ultimately, the reason that this feels so giant to me is because, and this does not happen to me, I was sick all weekend. I felt sick from what had happened, and that's the best feeling. I have not had that feeling in 10 years where I've got to sit with something and then I've got to wait to see if I'm going to get the medicine. When you talk about blueprint games, the Heat, those 4 years, it ended up being a fight with American at the end of it. Shake hands. Okay, push. That series that you're talking about, they could have gone 1-2 on championships, and everything would have been threatened in blueprint. This is not a blueprint game. It's the biggest hockey game in the history of South Florida, obviously.
I think it's bigger than a blueprint because there aren't modern references for 3-0 being surrendered and losing the series, even though it's happened in this sport. It happened to the Boston Bruins in an Eastern Conference final in the very next year. I think they went on to win the Stanley Cup, pulling off a pretty big comeback in their own right, but it's not something that people remember. That whole NBC Sports era of the NHL after lockouts, it's not really something that is talked about. I think the pop culture reference is the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. Yeah. What's on the line tonight for the Florida Panthers isn't just the Stanley Cup. That's on the line for both teams. One team's playing with house money. It's you either win the Stanley Cup or you become one of the biggest jokes in professional sports history. There is no in-between.
I don't think that anyone's going to reference the Panthers blowing a 3-0 lead over the Golden State Warriors. What? In America? Okay. You think America loves hockey that much that they're going to say you guys are the Florida Panthers in 2024?
Okay, fine. I think that, I think that blowing a 3-0 when the only time we've ever seen that in this sport is in the 1940s, I do think that it becomes I think it enters the conversation with 28-3, and again, that was a single game sample. I think this is remembered as one of the biggest pro sports chokes of all time.
It's what people will associate the Panthers with now.
It's what they become. It's what they become remembered for as a franchise.
Yeah, but in terms of pop culture reference, the Warriors and Cavs is still a bigger thing than the Panthers.
But NBA is bigger than hockey, but this is 3-0. This is most people will go their entire lives. Many people have lived to hardy old ages and not seen the scenario that's playing itself out right now. So you either win your first title as a franchise or you become the biggest joke in the sport. No in between.
If the Panthers don't go on to win this, do you start questioning, is Paul Maurice the guy to get this done? Because back-to-back Stanley Cup finals.
I don't want to do this.
Well, I'm just asking a question.
Okay, that's good. Ask it tomorrow or Wednesday.
No, tomorrow he may not have a job. We have the answer.
Ask it when I'm in Africa. When I'm in Africa, ask it. That's a good time to ask that question. Today is not a good time to ask that question. I'm glad we have South Florida's preeminent sports historian here. I asked him 6 minutes ago what his thoughts were. I would like to hear them.
I think you sold him short, by the way. I think you because of the Heat run, Edwin Pope wasn't there covering those. I think you've probably covered – you've had a long, illustrious career. I think you've covered more big games than Edwin Pope at this point.
It's possible, and thank you for that. I think of a handful of the biggest, most momentous games in South Florida sports history. Would mention a couple of them. I would eliminate the Heat Game 7 at home for a championship only because they had already run twice. Okay, they were already a two-time NBA champion. I might eliminate the Marlins 97 championship, only because they were just coming out of their expansion era. They were a fifth-year club. These weren't long-suffering fans.
Happy to be there.
There wasn't that element. I think back to the 83, if we're going college instead of pro, in addition to pro, I think back to the 83 football championship. But in that game, they came in as the fifth-ranked team, and even beating Nebraska on a last-second play, there was no guarantee coming out of that game that they were going to be the national champion that night. That was a pleasant surprise a couple of days later. In this case, it's all or nothing, and the stakes could not be more extreme. Teams in NHL history that have had a 3-0 lead in a series are 206-4. That's more than 98%. In the final, as you all know, it's 27-1, and the lone exception, anything that happened before I was born is officially ancient history. The lone exception is 1942. So this is the most extreme final we've ever had in terms of the weight of it, the stakes of it, and for that reason, I think you can call tonight the biggest night in South Florida sports history.
Wow. Okay. I will quibble. I can quibble. I don't want to quibble at the moment because Roy is out with the Panthers. And let me tell you a little bit about what Roy has been through, because this is an atrocity. Roy went from Fort Lauderdale to Houston to Denver to Edmonton for 16 hours. Then came back, Toronto to Montreal to Miami for 13 hours. then went Miami, Chicago, Calgary, drive to Edmonton for 11 hours, then Calgary, Charlotte, Miami for another 11 hours. 2, see his team outscored 13-2. When he's traveling 15,000 miles all over North America to see his team outscored 13-2. I will ask the audience this question at Le Batard Show. Does it feel like the Panthers are down 3-3 at Le Batard Show? I believe that momentum is that night's goalie. I believe you have Game 7 at home. You dream about this. It's what you want. Please, dear God, let my team play Game 7 at home, but it doesn't feel like that because, weirdly, it's not just that it's gone from 3-0 to 3-3. It's that it's the first 3 games of the series, Edmonton scored 4 goals. They haven't scored fewer than 5 goals in any game since. They're outscoring the Panthers in the last 3 games, 18-5. Like, you're so fortunate to be down 3-3 in a series where you've been outscored 18-5 in the last 3 games.
You have a game for a championship, and you haven't seen your team play well. Not win a game, play well in about a week and a half.
Roy Bellamy is there. He is at the Baptist Health Iceplex. He is standing outside it. It looks a bit like a car dealership. Roy, give me all the sights and sounds at
The Baptist
at the Baptist Health Iceplex.
Well, it's a hot day, and I'm wearing a hoodie, and I haven't gone inside yet because we were busy setting up for this shot. And right now, I am not feeling well. I am, because of all the, as you said, 15,000 miles I had to go through over the past week. And, right now, it is silent. The few fans coming in just to put on some rented skates so they can scan the other rink over there. Right now, I would just like to go inside and escape this heat.
I see the enthusiasm buzzing through South Florida outside of that car dealership that you're standing in front of. Can you please tell us whether or not officially you are scared?
No, I am not scared. I'm
Bullshit.
Angry.
He's a journalist, Dan.
Very
Bullshit.
angry.
Bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Why
No,
are you
it's
angry?
not bullshit.
You're
Why are
not
you
scared.
angry?
I am angry. Probably because it's tied 3-3 when we had a 3-0. I say we as if I'm part of the Panthers. When the
Wow.
Panthers had a 3-0
Journalist.
lead. Yeah,
So you're-
journalist. Yeah.
so, Roy,
it's tied now.
So
yeah.
just to ask you directly, you're angry that you haven't seen your team play well in a week and a half and not scared because you haven't seen your team play well in a week and a half.
Exactly, Mike. You are exactly right.
Okay.
I'm angry right
I'll
now.
take you for what you're saying, but I'm scared.
How can you not be scared?
I'm pretty terrified.
How you have to be that? Look, if it's not the biggest game in the history of South Florida sports, what it can be because it's here right now is the greatest fear a South Florida sports fan that has cared about that team, whatever that team is. This is the greatest fear that's been felt because the Heat had this same thing.
Second.
Mike, when it was the Heat, they also had everyone's going to laugh at you. If you
Yeah.
lose, everyone's going to laugh at you.
Which is associated with this, and I think that there was just so much more hostility, and the NBA in this country, as Billy pointed out, is bigger than the NHL. And you were losing to your rival. This is a team that you've never had history with in Edmonton. The only thing that registers like what I'm feeling right now, and I'll admit it was worse back then, was Game 6 Eastern Conference Finals at Boston, where the entire blueprint was on the line, where everybody would be making fun of you is on the line. That is the only thing in the stratosphere of what I'm feeling right now. Because, Roy, there is so much. I haven't seen a Florida Panther pick his chin up in 3 days. Yeah. The videos surrounding this team, the people that have seen them at practice, and you compare it to what you're seeing from Edmonton, they look like they're opening up a 90s sitcom. They got coffees in hand, thighs out, skies out attitude. Can you cut the tension with a knife around that iceplex you're standing in front of?
Yeah, it's about as thick as the humidity outside right now. And it's not, well, I wouldn't say it's looking good right now outside, but maybe that's a different scenario inside.
All right, we'll find out shortly when you go inside and get us yet more buzz. But speaking to what it is that Mike Ryan is saying there, this is why I think that the feeling around this, if you're someone who cares, not just about sports in South Florida, but cares about this hockey team, when Mike Ryan brings up Game 6 in Boston. The reason this rises to that level to me, even though it's not, the blueprint's going to get blown apart if you lose, is because, and I cannot believe I am saying what I'm about to say, but it's parallel for both teams. The fact that nobody wants the Panthers to win this series, that's been the case throughout the series, and now after being 3-0, it's escalated to nobody thinks they will win this series. Like now, for it to go like that on you as a fan base when you're watching the coverage all over North America and you're like, wait a minute, it's me against everybody? Everybody wants McDavid, and then you allow 4 goals in 3 games, you go up 3-0, and wait, it's going to be easy? This trophy's going to be easy to get. What this fan base has had done to it over these games escalates this to the greatest feeling that is known in sports, where the stakes are so high that you've just kept doubling down on your team. And what I believe, as I've believed all season, is give me the team that has been best all season, who has a goalie I believe in more, who's playing the game at home in a Game 7. But if there were anything to shatter my conviction in that, it would be the way the last 3 games have gone.
Yeah, I see that point. You do play an entire season for the opportunity, winner take all, Game 7 on home ice in a vacuum. Granted, this is a kooky series in a vacuum. You take that. I don't think I would have taken that entering this series, but whatever. We're here. I think one of the things that separates that Game 6 headed to Boston and this one was, at least in that series, you had the player. You had the generational player that wins those type of games, especially in the history of this sport. That player wins this game.
Edmonton is coming into this game in a position that you can argue a road team in a Game 7 has never felt quite like this, where we have steamrolled you for 3 games. We believe we have figured something out. We got your goalie benched in Game 4, and nobody here is scared of him after he shut out the Oilers in Game 1 and allowed 1 goal in Game 2. All that mystique is gone, and North America expects Connor McDavid to hold up everything tonight. That's what's expected. They're favorite, correct?
It's a pick'em game. It's a pick'em game, which is kind of unheard of. In another quirk, the team that has been hosting Game 7 in the last 3 times is 0-3 in the Stanley Cup final. Again, we're in crazy single sample land right now. None of this makes sense. This series has been really odd, but you can just say that as a casual sports fan. Team blows 3-0, they're a mess. But this stuff, if you've just been following this series, it's very clear. Florida Panthers have been taken out of their game. They cannot have a zone entry to save their life. They're getting in each other's way. Instead of making a simple pass because they've been burned on on breakaways going the other way, they're trying to drive the puck through traffic and turning the puck over. And Carter Verhaeghe looks like a totally different player right now. They are just so out of their game to the point that they're pretty much unrecognizable. And if you have faith in your team to win on home ice, last year when the Heat blew a 3-0 lead, they lost a buzzer beater. They at least looked good that Game 6, and they were an 8 seed, a totally different situation. This kind of feels like the Tampa Bay Lightning series where they got swept. Mackenzie Weegar started making all those mistakes. They are just so taken out of their game that it's hard to work up conviction other than we're just on home ice.
Yeah, Verhaeghe has looked so out of sorts that you almost think that after the fact they're going to announce he had some sort of an injury that he was playing through or something.
What's unfortunate is he actually had an assist on that offside, which I think was a valid offside. But that you never know, could that get that player going in that instance? They're making changes. Tarasenko, who's won a Stanley Cup in his career, comes in as a veteran who's been eating pucks and I think impressed lately. He's now getting power play 1 minutes. They used to go to Carter Verhaeghe because, he was unrecognizable. Sam Reinhart is totally missing. Yep. Gustav Forsling is coming off of a bad game. It's not a recognizable team right now. If you told me, do you have faith in the Florida Panthers winner take all home ice Game 7, I'd believe that. But then you apply the context of how exactly they've looked over the last 3 games, and I don't really know how anyone can work up outside of just your fandom and belief how they can actually apply a reason to why they would win tonight.
When you're going into Game 7 and you can make an argument that your series MVP is Evan Rodriguez, good for Evan Rodriguez. But what that means is your top players have not been top players consistently enough. And Bobrovsky, his save percentage since the third period of Game 3 is less than 80%.
Really bad.
Edmonton,
it's not good enough to win.
Edmonton has been shooting more than 20% accuracy on him. And it's not all him. That's the defense as well, a team that prides itself for defense first.
I have a Sergei Bobrovsky stat of the day if you would like it. It may make you feel better or worse.
Okay, that's not really telling us much.
Well,
about
I'll give you
anything.
the. I'm waiting for the open. Yeah.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
In Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final this season, Sergei Bobrovsky allowed 3 goals. The empty net allowed 2. Makes you wonder. Paul Maurice, maybe, coaching for his job, has some strategizing to do.
All right, you keep working on your stat of the day.
They have
We'll
been-
see if you do it well one day.
To his Bob point, though, they have been managing. Paul Maurice has been managing Sergei Bobrovsky a little bit differently. He did not make Bobrovsky available for the media after losing Game 6. Bob had a day off yesterday. He was not at practice. All these things are kind of weird, or you can choose not to
Now
look
seems
into
like
it.
the time to practice if you're him.
Well, I think you mentioned Paul Maurice, and I don't think he's getting fired after this, but a lot's on the line too.
Stop.
A lot's on the line too. Well, Dan, it's a weird storyline to explore on the precipice of Game 7, but he is known as one of those all-time losers in that sport. He's been around the sport for a very long time, and he doesn't have the crowning achievement to his name.
Okay, all right, just stop.
He is 4-0 career in Game 7s.
That's great, and he does need to find something, because Chris Knobloch on the other side has found several things, and one of the things that was winning you this series early on was your bottom 6, your depth guys being able to outmuscle their depth guys and be better. He hasn't really had to change up a lot in this series, and tactically, this seems to be the first game where he's going to start doing some things, because Knobloch has totally out-tacticianed him in the last few games.
Greg Cody, I need to know where you are with Mike Ryan. A lot of people reached out to me over the course of the weekend saying that the back and forth between all of you was unpleasant to them. They did not like it. Billy has come in today lamenting that he wasn't here to prevent the Greg's-ecution. You're feeling how right now about Mike Ryan? Have you guys settled with each other? I got a text here from one of Dan Patrick's producers who doesn't tell me at all what it's about. It's just a text that lands on my doorstep here that was questioning Mike Ryan and his behavior towards you last week.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That was very unpleasant for me as well. There may be something in the works with Mike and I. It's above my pay grade. I let other people handle stuff like that. So.
What do you mean there might be something in the works?
I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn.
Charity boxing?
No.
Lawsuit?
Well, I don't want to speak out of turn.
Okay.
You put me in an
right.
uncomfortable situation.
All right. Somebody. So, Mike, I got this. This is what I got. When I go to the studio, the fandom has to go to the back burner to some level. It can be useful when a cast member is a fan of a team, but that cast member has to be in control of it, not vice versa. Mm-hmm. Just unsolicited advice from from an esteemed producer in the industry.
Wow.
And it doesn't even say what it's about. Cool. I just gathered what it's about.
I appreciate that.
We don't know that it's about Mike, to be fair. There's no information there. It could be about anything.
Could be about Roy.
Could be about the way you're covering
I
the
have
Panthers,
sincere
in
regret.
fairness.
I apologize to Greg after all it. I mean, a lot of this is performative, but I did not like how that show went for me, mainly because Dan. Yeah, Dan wanted that. He would not have stopped until he got that.
I'm in control of your behavior. I'm in control of your
because we've been
behavior.
talking about this series poorly.
So does Dan apologize to you?
And
or to
all
Greg?
we had was this bit, And I thought, at least with Game 6, hopefully this comes to an end and Dan can get what he wants. And once again, I'm thrust in front of a microphone doing something I really don't want to be doing just to get Dan finally there. And it's a bad look for me.
Quite a
I'm
sacrifice Mike makes.
I'm done being your pawn.
A texter writes, and does anybody else think Greg only wrote that McDavid is overrated because it rhymed?
What rhymed?
shortly we will go back out to the buzz around Roy at Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. He is outside of the practice facility, outside of
Edmore's, of course.
outside of
That practice facility is like really nice.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
What are we doing here?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And
It's in Fort Lauderdale.
Wait,
it's not by the stadium.
wait,
You're
wait,
painting
whoa.
a picture like you're in the Everglades right now.
No, no.
Is that a car dealership?
Car dealerships in that part of the country, I'm going to say, are beautiful. I don't have any objection to Roy joining us from Bill Seidel's Nissan.
Seidel saves.
No objection. These are beautiful car dealerships. I'm happy that South Florida has a facility. That's a beautiful facility. If you saw what the Panthers used to practice in, because South Florida didn't know how to do ice and rinks, that wasn't a thing that was happening here when the Panthers were born. Where they initially practiced smelled so bad, I could still smell it in my nostrils, and I haven't been there in 27 years. Their facility smelled of so much mildew.
All the walls were soggy.
Oh, my God. That's so true. The walls were damp. I saw a commercial the other day. It bothered me. You know that song, dun, 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 dun. Everybody dance now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy. Everybody damp rid was the song, and I got offended on behalf of, is it C&C Music Factory? I got offended on behalf of whoever it is that did that song, that damp rid would come in there and soil that song.
It had a smell to it. Like,
That's hockey, though.
You could smell. It is.
You want to smell
Hockey
that. That's like
pads
football.
notoriously bad.
Exactly right.
But you could
want
still
that
smell Brian Scrudlin there.
That may be the thing. Maybe the Panthers facilities are too nice and they don't want it enough.
I mean, they did start this season in the old facility and moved in kind of midway through.
Didn't Tommy
after
Hearn?
Game 3?
Didn't Tommy Hearn?
Didn't Tommy
he doesn't
Hearn?
care when you're talking, Tommy.
No, I know. It's okay. Didn't Tommy Hearn say it's hard to get up and run when you're in silk sheets? Maybe that's what the Panthers are going through right now.
Yeah.
The Iceplex looks like
Go
Bill
to the
Seidel's
Iceplex.
Nissan, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second.
They
it's
should go to
actually
the
pretty
old
nice here.
the old facility just to re-engage that toughness.
The Panthers moving closer to Fort Lauderdale with their training complex is not a totally coincidental thing. I think this is a team that envisions itself someday being situated in Fort Lauderdale.
Where's the
Not
parade gonna?
Sunrise.
Where's the parade gonna be?
Edmonton.
Let's everyone stop.
I have a question about the parade. So, should the Oilers win today, right? And
That's what you're rooting for.
No,
right?
that's not true.
He said
That's
with a big
false.
grin
He's
on
a
his
Panthers
face.
fan,
Falsehoods.
Dan.
I am.
Billy?
I'd argue I've already won, right? Because either my home team wins and I get to celebrate a championship, or hilarity ensues. But I will say this, and this is actually a planning question that we should have now, because we got to get the wheels moving on this, and apparently it takes 6 days to get to Edmonton. So Roy hosts the hockey show, not the Panthers show. Exactly right. So should Edmonton win? Should Roy go cover the parade? Because it is a historic
It's the hockey show.
It's a historic and an historic achievement,
Yeah,
right?
as a journalist, he
Connor
should.
McDavid wins his first cup, and this is what solidifies him in some hockey writers' minds as the greatest of this generation. Some are saying he's not without this Stanley Cup win.
Zagacki.
And if he gets it won, I feel like we as a fan base should be blessed to see this crowning achievement here in South Florida.
Greg,
'Cause
you
anyone would love to.
should cover it and
Oh, I
have
like that.
have your own float.
I like that.
You should have the McDavid is over.
Wait, we're having something here.
What's happening back there?
Mike,
What
someone
just
walked in.
happened?
Someone
Who
just walked in and handed Mike a manila folder.
I've been served.
What happened?
Yeah.
Someone just walked in and handed
Yeah.
Mike a
What?
manila
So somebody
folder.
who was that person who just
have
came
no
in?
idea. It was
a
Did they
random
say-
lady.
Wait a
I have
minute.
no
wait,
idea.
Wait. Mike, hold on a second. Did someone come up to you right now and just say, "Are you Mike Ryan Ruiz?" Or did they identify? Like, did they do that? Were you just legally processed?
Yeah, which is weird because we have security here. Wanset, McGillicuddy, and McGillicuddy from the offices of Wanset, McGillicuddy,
That is
and
my law
McGillicuddy,
firm.
Esquire. Please be advised that our law firm has been retained by Greg Cody. This letter constitutes notice of our client's complaint against you for your age discrimination and elderly abuse. Wow. So, and
That's not me. That's my lawyers.
yeah, you called our client an idiot 2 times. You called our client pal 3 times. Wow. You claimed responsibility for the last 10 years of our client's career. Our client claims you are only responsible for the last 8 of those.
Again, that's all legalese.
Yeah.
I have a staff. I have a team behind me.
What is that? That sounds official. That sounds. There is a lot of legalese there.
Yeah.
Our analysis of the evidence suggests settling is a prudent choice to mitigate. Well, what are they seeking?
Well,
Settling on what? What is the ask?
Wow, it's almost as if you have so much information about this.
I'm asking questions because I don't have enough information.
Yeah, they're
Our graphics
looking
department
for
has never been
damages
on
in
anything
excess of $1.2 million.
$1.2 million.
Yeah, sincerely, McGillicuddy.
All right, so hold on a second. Put that up. Let me see.
The law offices are located at 1440 Zagacki Street.
That's a nice logo.
I will email you back at hello@reallyGreatSite.com.
No, hold on a second. Put that back up there so that I can read it because this seems authentic, and I can't believe Greg Cody has gone to these lengths. Let me keep reading.
We scanned the document.
Let me keep reading. Let me see the bottom of that, please. I want to see what $1.2 million.
TV's all over this today.
Our analysis of the evidence suggests settling is a prudent choice to mitigate risk and cost. My client has attempted all weekend to resolve this matter with you on several occasions.
Did we hire an extra?
Paul
Was that
Radke
something? Because I've never seen
here.
that person before in my life. We hired an extra for
We
this?
didn't hire anybody. That person served you. I don't know where process servers come from. We will then file a lawsuit against you on behalf of my client. Party of the first part. Party of the first part, we can indemnify and hold harmless per statutory authority P1465 Dade County versus Paul Radke. We are here to... We are here to for de facto de jure de novo seeking ex parte damages for inculpatory evidence liquidated claims.
Yeah, I got to get my wife to interpret that for me.
That sounds serious.
You'll be hearing from my attorney, Alex Hanna.
I've seen his billboards.
Yeah, you don't want none of that smoke.
Okay.
Mike Ryan
See you in court, McGillicuddy.
says he will not
See you
get
there.
involved in this back and forth. But
No, I'm done being your toy.
well, but what's going to happen
No,
here?
because it always builds up the same way. You're not happy, you push the gas, and then I feel the pressure of you not being happy, and I embarrass myself over the air. And it happens all the time. You've just been pulling all the strings. I told Greg, I realized I'm not mad at you. You wrote the column to get attention. You got it. It's fine. Whatever. But he's very clearly the best player in the world, even though he had a pretty quiet Game 6. And all we've had is this. And Dan was just pushing and pushing until we got to that point. I'm
can't
sorry
believe
that it's
how
escalated
about
to a lawsuit.
you take some
Don't
responsibility
say too
for your own adult actions?
Yeah.
Like you can't push back. Like you're real meek about pushing back, are you?
Tone.
You're-
Please,
but
please
no,
don't
like-
take that tone with me because you know what you're doing and you've done it. And thank God I got in the way because billboards would have gone up after Game 3 and you would have been totally hated.
You should believe in your team.
Totally hated.
For believing in the local team. For
Okay.
believing the local team is going to win.
You want to make fun of the fandom and the superstitions, fine. But what I feared in everybody planning all this stuff and counting their eggs, look, these are cliches. And you want to think superstition's dumb? Cool. Both teams got beards and haven't shaved for months. It's just around the sport.
Cody's got a mustache for 2.5 weeks because he got on the mustache wagon.
And I know what's happening here, and I'm victim of what this show has always done. It has always made fun of sports fandom, and there's occasionally a couple of times where the sports fandom is close to the bone. I would have thought that we would have rallied around this team when the sports fandom started to transcend, like it did with the Miami Heat. It's not the same thing. Dan cared a little bit differently. I'm not going to say more.
Okay, no,
cared differently.
Well, I don't. See,
and we are not heroes to this market.
No,
we are
I
not
cannot-
championing this market. We are embarrassing this market.
I cannot disabuse you of this notion that you care more than everybody and that you shame everyone else for
No,
not
I didn't say
caring the way
more. I didn't
that
say
you
more.
do.
I cared differently. I just said cared
You
differently.
think you care better. That's
then-
what you think.
Yeah, Dan, if we're getting down to it, I
How-
do think
how
that I
did-
care more about the Florida Panthers than Billy or you or Greg.
But
yes.
how did all of your hockey analysis, all of the podcasts that you're snorting that make your ability to talk about this more expert than mine, how did it help you with the projection of what would happen in this series, where we now have the very best thing that no one saw coming this way? We have the very best thing, and you have no idea what's going to happen tonight because tonight's just random.
Yeah.
But tonight is just lottery.
I guess where it helped me was telling you to not do this because I know exactly how good that team is. I know exactly how good they've bounced back from losing streaks. So the only place where it kind of helped me in terms of trying to predict where this series was, hey, maybe let's not celebrate a championship up 3-0.
Great.
That's the only place. And again, I'm not taking the shot at you for caring less or you just care differently than I do. And I'm bummed because I thought in the 20-year sample of this show, when the fandom actually met our shores, we would be a beacon. And we haven't been.
We're here now, Mike.
You're not a beacon.
We're here.
Okay.
Greg Cody's a beacon.
I just
I am
got
a beacon.
served with a lawsuit by
Greg-
Wanset McGillicuddy and
That's right.
McGillicuddy.
That's
I'm a beacon.
right.
We are not talking to the newsmakers. We are not actually adding anything to this. The only thing we're adding is a bit of a circus. And I'm not thrilled about it, but whatever. I've made my bed. I might as well sleep in it.
When the lady came in to serve Mike with these papers from McGillicuddy, I almost sprung into action because I didn't know what was going on.
What does that mean? What were you going to do?
I was going to try and protect Mike. No, I was going to.
No,
where
he
where
put
are you
like
going with that.
When,
That's crazy. I don't know what happened there.
When you take like a sharp break in your car and your natural instinct is to like protect the passenger.
I saw her coming to Mike. Are you Mike Ruiz? And
I
was
thought
like,
she was going to do makeup or something like lady.
Yeah, so Mike Ryan's been served by Greg Cody and by the offices of Wannstedt, McGillicuddy, and McGillicuddy.
Right. In fairness, Wannstedt is the senior partner, so refer eponymously to the firm as Wannstedt more than McGillicuddy. You know, that's I deal with one. It's Merle Wannstedt. He's not related to Dave.
Can we see this replay again? Because Tony does nothing when this lady walks in. He's
doesn't
claiming that
Tony,
he tried to protect
It doesn't look like you protected Mike at all.
I was assessing the threat, and then when I
look at his posture. He's ready to attack.
I was ready to jump over the table.
His neck kind of gives a twitch.
Like, look how straight he is standing up. He is at attention.
Have you seen a dog when they're kind of figuring out, hey, is this person a threat or not? They kind of stand up tall, make sure my owner, I got to take care of my owner, even though Mike's not my owner.
The opposite. Look at Billy's reaction when she walks in.
Billy,
just terrified.
Billy is just, a portal of terror. Like, I'm so glad that I'm not the one that's being served paper.
I was wondering why the process server had a big grin on her face when she left. Like, what's funny about this?
I imagine.
I mean, look at her.
I imagine there are people that have maintained listening throughout the show despite not really liking me or my character on this show.
Sure.
Or
especially you, not so much your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but
no, look, so that's me. Blame me for that too. Blame me for that
I'm not,
too.
I he can get his shots in. I got plenty.
Be careful.
On
you were
Friday.
Served. Yeah,
like
you don't say too much.
I'm good. Yeah. Now we've involved lawyers. I'm not going to do that. But I do think that there is like a fair bit of karma. Like, we enjoyed listening to Boston radio stations and all that, and when sports were really important to other people, we always took the piss. And it just so happens now I'm on the receiving end of that, and my fandom is being magnified, and no one kind of cares the same way. So the show's actually just going to remain being the show.
Ratchet up the stakes to the highest possible place.
Where fandom is,
ratchet
usually
up
a
the
point
stakes.
of mockery.
Believe in your team. Game 7 at home.
Don't tell me how to fan.
Well, don't tell me how to fan.
No, I'm telling you not. Okay, I'm not. You care differently. I can take exception to it, and we've made this series about something that is silly in the grand scheme of things.
We have made this series about a number of different things. I'm glad that you get to decide what's silly for all of us. We've been talking. I
only get to
control
decide
how PK Subban decides to dress when he comes on with us. It's his choice as to whether or not he wears a bathrobe or not.
Fair enough. We just disagree. I get to decide what's silly for me, and I think whether it be on the mic or non-bit, in private communications, emails, what have you, I haven't been feeling it because I'm connected. I'm a fan. I care deeply. And the show always goes funny.
And I want to ratchet up the stakes to where they presently are, where the energy around this show today is unlike any that we've ever done the show in, because you can careen desperately from, and no matter how you care or where you care from, okay?
Do you think you're failing? Do you think you're failing?
This?
No. I'm saying, do you think you're failing in ratcheting up the pressure to where it needs to be? Because I think you've done it.
I want all.
I mean, it's not so much you as it is Chris Knobloch and Connor McDavid, but you've done stuff.
I want all of the maximum pressure to fall on everything in the series, because this is the greatest feeling in sports, to have this level of terror between you get to laugh at these people for history, or you get to hold up the trophy and laugh at everybody that wanted to laugh at you. You're in the position of nobody wants you to win this trophy. It is rightfully earned by Connor McDavid, who had 0 shots and 0 points in the last game. Rightfully earned by the greatness of McDavid. It's what North America thinks is just in hockey. And now you've gone from the team nobody wants to win to the team nobody thinks can win. Take everybody out. Maximum pressure. Fight everybody. And they're going to laugh at you if you lose.
Please score first.
That's the risk. Please go up 4-0. And I'll still be scared because they score a lot.
If we go down 1-0 in this game tonight, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do. I might leave. I'm gonna have to pull. I'm gonna have to go into my holster.
It would feel so over.
What's in your holster?
My bag of tricks.
Be very careful.
First goal
It kind of
First goal?
That's where it's been the last 3 games, in that if you surrender the first goal, it totally takes you out of your game and you just make more mistakes.
They have to score.
And on top of that, they've been very efficient with their quality chances.
Guys.
You know that you're not going to generate any. It kind of feels like first goal win scenario.
Guys, they're the best third-period team in the league. All season they've been playing. We don't care if we get down in the first 2 periods, and you're at first goal?
I'm broken, Dan.
Yeah, I think that would be the takeaway from the last few games is first goal generally wins in this one. So, yeah, and seeing what's gone wrong and how it's just totally avalanched, they can't play their game if they're chasing. Yeah. So I would say there's a lot in that first goal.
What's in your bag?
I can get up and go watch like I did when Alex Gonzalez hit that home run for the Marlins. Like if we're not scoring, I leave my seat, I go up and I watch from like the concession area. That's 1. I could just leave. That's 2. That's if we go down like I have to do it. Okay, if we're down by 3, what are my options at that point?
You're gonna leave?
Hold on a second.
Weirdo.
Can I? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm exactly right. That's ridiculous.
It worked for Alex Gonzalez.
It did. You won that game.
You're welcome.
I have a question for you guys, since Chris is going to go to this game and then leave the game or just hang out in the concourse
I
for
said
some
it's
reason.
in my holster.
What's your price?
Ooh.
Because we played this the other day, and you guys have said this might be the biggest game in South Florida
Tickets
sports
are all
history.
over $2,000.
What's
now,
your
right?
price, Chris Cody?
$10,000 for both my tickets.
Really? Well, where are they? What section? What seats?
Really good seats
He's got good
behind
seats.
where the Panthers scored twice. Lower level, 7th row.
Shoot twice side,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure those are going for. What are those going for right now, Tony? Look it up.
I've looked on Game Time.
Section
It's-
128.
I'm
Game Time.
I'm too rich for my blood. I'm priced out. Really? Yeah. I'm priced out. I had so much invested around Game 5 that when they lost that, it's just like, okay.
Wow, you blew your budget.
I want to enjoy today. I woke up today with the goal. I want to enjoy this Game 7, our barn. But as we're talking it out, I'm struggling to get there because I'm terrified.
It is terrifying.
The last three clinching games, every time I've woken up around like 4 a.m. and it's just the first thing I think about. The good news in all of this is, well, if we lose, we're going to have to deal with that for a little bit.
And you get to watch history, though.
Everyone that cares so much about this team, their life has been so consumed, and it makes such perfect sense that the greatest season, I think, of many people's lifetimes, because it was unbelievable, from individual performances to how good and quality the teams were to this postseason. It makes sense that you get rewarded with a Game 7, with the game's greatest player on the road, having come back from a 3-0 deficit against a team that went through an unreal path to get to it, that's back for the 2nd straight year. This is the stuff that books are written about. And Paul Maurice has been so good with quotes along the entire way, Greg. If you want to get pacified by anything, he's like, when you're in your backyard or your frozen pond and you're dreaming about these moments, no one ever dreams about a game-winning goal in Game 4.
Right.
It's always about Game 7.
Can I make a proposition to you, Chris? A business decision on your behalf? So in your section, tickets are going for $2,100 right now.
But Billy, that's row 19 though. He's row 7, so we got to do some math on
So let's
this.
say you sell your tickets for $2,500 each. Like you could get in for $841 in the upper deck. Like you could sell your 2 tickets and get in and still be at the game if that's what you want and make a nice profit today.
I could, but
A lot of Panther fans are indeed selling the tickets, and they're being shamed by others for selling the tickets, for allowing anybody in Edmonton to get those seats.
And there's a lot of Edmonton folks that probably went on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app now. I see Billy on Game Time right now. That's how he was able to rattle off those prices. Yeah. If he clicked individual seats, he could see exactly what his view would be like from there. Make sure you have that all-in pricing tab clicked on so there are no surprises at checkout. Create an account. Use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. If you've got your first purchase today, it's a good time to use that promo code DAN. Oh, you could hear the weekend in my throat. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. That is Game Time.
There are a number of reasons that obviously we thunder like a million buffalo toward a mushroom cloud of a sporting event in South Florida. The way you guys are talking feels a little bit defeated. It's well beyond scared. I would make the argument to anyone listening around the good things in sports that cowardice is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to overcome that fear. The fact that
Cowardice
you guys,
is overcoming that fear?
I'm sorry, courage. My bad.
right,
My
yeah.
bad. My bad.
Freudian slip.
My bad. Yes.
Well, because I'm not feeling courage right now. You nailed it. Like I don't really believe I have hope, but I don't believe I got to see my team play well to believe. I haven't seen them play well outside of maybe a second and third period in Game 5 where you can maybe have some hope. I don't really see the path. I would say that I would have faith in my team, but the team that I've seen over the last 3 games is unrecognizable, Greg.
But that's one of the fascinating dynamics of tonight, is that for the first time in the whole lengthy postseason, the Florida Panthers are doubted, and they are underdogs because when it's even in Game 7 and you're the home team, you're the underdog.
Yeah,
It's our first elimination game.
Right.
It's what's called a pick'em game.
Yep.
If you look at the lines right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, you'll find them at both
Right.
minus 110. Books are happy because they're getting the action that they want, and they're going to collect on the handle.
Right. I always root for the best story, and therefore I envision the Florida Panthers winning
That is
tonight.
not the best story.
It is for my market.
ridiculous.
It
not the
is
best
where
story.
I live.
You're such a.
It is where I live.
It's not the best story.
It is the best story.
Where he lives, Dan.
Okay.
Only in your house.
Gretzky of this generation coming down from 3-0. Like I'm admitting, like that's a better story for the league.
Okay, Canada's used to this. Canada's
They
gone
haven't
30
won.
Canada's gone 31 years. They're used to this.
Used to not winning.
It's nothing
Yeah.
new for
the
them.
Panthers have also gone this time without
Connor
winning.
McDavid, which is why it's a better story. Edmonton's won 5 cups. Florida's won nothing. This is a better story. Florida winning. Connor McDavid is used to not winning a cup.
Correct.
Okay, continue, please.
Craig.
All
The
the
Florida
greats.
Panthers winning is the best
Greg,
story
no.
in the NHL.
Well, it's best for-
I didn't say it was the most popular story.
When Sidney Crosby went up against the Detroit Red Wings in his Game 7 that he won on the road, I know he wasn't able to finish that game, but his first crack at it, Game 7 Stanley Cup Final, best player won. The guy that was tabbed to be a generational player came through. And now you have a dude that wrote that dude a letter when he was 5 years old on how to deal with being a prodigy in the very same position. I think that you have this. The ratings are going to be a bonanza tonight. Connor McDavid becomes an actual recognizable star, no matter the result tonight. But if he transcends and does it and does something that no one in the history of that sport can say that they've done, that's alive.
Yeah, do we believe a 5-year-old actually wrote a letter?
I
Because
don't.
I don't.
Exactly.
Does the math
right.
add up on that? How does Sidney
can
Crosby
barely cover
versus
him.
McDavid?
So the podcast, the Jeff Merrick show, when they had this story, said Sidney Crosby was 15 when Connor McDavid wrote him a letter at
That's
5 years
weird.
old.
Mom, could I have some stationery? I feel like penning a letter. How
Like to
about you
write
go into you finish kindergarten first, then we're going to give you a pen.
Zagak.
Thank
Why are you
you.
tracking down a 15-year-old's address? That's weird as hell.
It's ridiculous.
I look, in Greg's defense, I would say this. Should Connor McDavid win today, the NHL loses that storyline because he's won his cup. It's
Right.
like the Triple Crown. We've talked about the Triple Crown for years. As soon as a horse won the Triple Crown, we stopped really paying attention to all of the Triple Crown
Great
races.
analogy.
Exactly right. Doesn't matter. Once we lose this storyline, what are we going to do? Is he going to win another one? Who cares? He did it already.
And let me make this clear. When I say that the Florida Panthers winning is the best story, I am speaking 100% parochially.
It's me maximum.
It is
it's
me maximum. I am
It's-
speaking from my perspective.
Yes, yes.
Granted, the Panthers winning is also the best story for me personally, but for the Panthers, it's also big. Don't get me wrong; it's not just about me. Big night for the Panthers.
Really,
as well.
not just
Yeah,
you.
right.
Me maximum. You are saying
Big
that
night.
the best story is the Panthers
Yes.
winning. Nobody listening to that thinks that. Who
For the
isn't-
first time, and they're listening at the Sawgrass Mills food court, and they're up and cheering right
Not
now,
open yet.
watching it on
Not
TV.
open.
But if it
Opens
were,
in 6 minutes.
Just-
okay.
Can I ask this question sincerely, having seen the million people that showed up in Boston for the parade. I don't know how many people live in Edmonton. I imagine every single one of them will be in the street if Edmonton hosts a parade. What's our parade going to look like compared to Edmonton's parade? I ask the question seriously, because I believe every single person, I believe it would be a national holiday in Edmonton. I believe schools will be closed and no one has to go anywhere but to the parade in Edmonton, I would assume. That's not what it'll be here.
You're planning parades now, are you?
I'm saying both parades. Both sides have to have done some planning already.
Yeah, no, they have.
Somebody's done some planning. You going to blame that on me too?
excited. We have the car. We're driving 3 hours to Edmonton.
Why are you driving and doing this?
This is Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Panthers are leading 3-2. David and I are here at Panthers Morning Skate. Currently, the Panthers are going through rushes. David, what do you see?
I see a lot of pucks, a lot of hockey players. Some guys are hitting the net, some guys are not. It's a morning skate.
If I don't get a photo with Barkey, I quit.
Hey, listen, I'm not responsible for you getting a picture of Alexander Barkov. Don't look at me to actually snap that photo for you.
If they win, you'll get your picture. So we're going to do a little MTV Cribs Canadian Hockey Arena version, and we're going to walk to the press box, and we're going to see what Rogers Place has to offer on the way. So come on, Rose, let's go.
I have to walk.
This is the glass where Roy would smash Connor McDavid into it if we were having a hockey practice right now. So, Rose, see that right there is where the media press conferences happen.
Do you feel from a coaching perspective that you need to treat this game like a Game 7?
I don't feel that. I don't feel that I will bring the idea into the room that we need to play 2 games tonight. That kind of weight to the game.
Dimitri, what are you looking to improve here on Game 6?
I think our start. Just gotta have a better start. Maybe get the first goal and then go from there.
Men det är som det är. Det är som sagt det är en matchserie. Vi ska vinna 4.
Did you get all that? Like, can you translate some of what he said?
Yeah, he said in Game 6 that he's going to do something, and this team is going to do something as well. And whatever happens, happens, and it is what it is.
Love it. Carter, what's the mood in here like after the game?
It's tough, obviously, tough one to take. I mean, yeah, it's always obviously tough. We know we can get better, and we need to get better. So that's on our mind right now.
So we are going back to Sunrise for a Game 7, and what could possibly be either the first Stanley Cup in franchise history for the Panthers or the biggest comeback in sports history.
To go up 3-0 the way they did, and to drop the last 3 the way they did, I don't know what to think heading into Game 7. It could just be a whole lot of build-up from maybe the best moment in franchise history, and it'll seem so cool if that's the case. And if not, I will put my head into the glass.
All right, let's do this one more time at the house. I'm Roy Bellamy. That's David Druck of the Hockey News. This is the Hockey Show. We are leaving Edmonton.
Goodbye, Edmonton.
I was one of those kids for sure that played by himself wherever outdoors or literally anything and thinking about like this is game 7 Stanley Cup playoffs, maybe even like overtime, think about those moments. So yeah, I've had many of those memories, and now it's becoming true, and tomorrow for sure exciting, the most exciting time to be a hockey player.
To me, Greg Cody, and you've been in this market for a long time, the thing that makes tonight so incredibly rare and special above all other things is that you have been covering, watching, following this team for 30 years. And in 12 hours or so, you will either have the best feeling in franchise history or the worst feeling in franchise history. Like, there's nothing in between the two. There's nothing else there that if they lose tonight, there's nothing that's happened in this franchise's history that's going to have felt worse than the loss of tonight. And if they win, it'll be the most satisfying thing you've ever gotten for your 30 years of investment. It's crazy.
It's crazy when you describe it like that. It's also crazier when it's not just franchise history. No team that exists right now has any person that has ever dealt with what is on the other end of this.
Right.
You either win or you're the biggest joke ever in the history of the sport.
And that's part and parcel of what I'm thinking when I make the audacious statement that this might be the biggest night in South Florida sports history in terms of a home game, because the extremes have never been this extreme.
I've never had a bigger hockey game in my entire life.
I mean,
hockey, it goes without saying. Hockey.
No. I'm saying I don't think in my lifetime there has been a bigger hockey game. I've seen Game 7s in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah. A 94 New York with the 40 years. That's the only thing that I think comes close to this in terms of what surrounds a singular hockey game. Maybe the gold medal game in Canada. Like, there is nothing that has been this big.
The extremes almost literally don't get more extreme. You're either going to raise the cup for the first time in franchise history, or you are going to be a failure and a choker in public estimation of epic, historic proportions.
We said it earlier. It's going to be word association for just hockey fans. Panthers blew that 3-0 lead against McDavid. Like, that is going to be what we're known for.
Yeah.
Shit!
Yeah, I'm happy that the sport it needs something like this, something that can get into the main cable sports conversation. It hasn't had this kind of launching pad with these type of broadcast partners. So I know even if I feel bad at the end of it, the game is going to be helped by whatever happens tonight.
Overtime?
Worst case scenario.
It's never happened in a Game 7
You
Stanley
can talk
Cup.
me into it.
No.
How much fun would that be?
Enough with the fun.
I'm with Dan at this point. Give it to me, because at this point it means that the Oilers didn't beat us by a lot. No. That the way the last 3 games have gone, I will just take overtime.
Well,
at this point.
No, hold on a second. I have a question for you. I'm glad that you brought this here because I've been meaning to ask you. Before this series started, you said you would be fine with the Panthers losing the Stanley Cup. You'd just be happy with the fact that they got back to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row because it shows that your organization is successful. Do you still feel that? Because
I do.
Right now, you just said you'd be fine with them losing in overtime.
I'm going to find the perspective if we lose this game tonight. I will be the one in here tomorrow saying this was fun. Because this has been fun.
No, it hasn't.
Like the last 4 or 5 days, not been fun.
No part of Friday
overall,
looked like fun.
The last 3 years with this Panthers team has been, as other than maybe the Big 3 Heat, like the best sporting thing of my life.
Friday, you're watching the Boston Parade, 1 million people. You're watching all of the coverage of the Boston Parade, and then you lose that night 5-1 in an uninteresting game that makes everyone who's paying attention to hockey being like, wait, is Florida really going to blow that lead? And the lead obviously has already been blown. I'm just really surprised, though. I am surprised by this. I understand why it happens. Fandom is emotional. Fandom can be flimsy. I mean, when you jump up and down with the results of something, that's not what most of you have done when your children were born in the delivery room. Jumping up and down, the wild expressions of emotions here are unique to sports. When you ratchet it up to the place where you're telling your fan base, here's the deal. Hockey's super random. Like anything can happen. Sports in general, in one game samples, super random. And here's what's at stake tonight. Everyone's going to laugh at you, or you're going to get to laugh at everybody who wanted to laugh at you. And in those stakes, what you have is, do you believe in your team or not? Because the three of you have wandered off on what the last 3 games have looked like, and you're not looking at the larger sample, which is this team in the third period comes back from if you scored first. This team has the goaltender that until the last 3 games, you wouldn't have had a doubt that you had Game 7 at home with the better goaltender. The fact that you guys are running scared suggests to me that the combination of the stakes and 18-5 in the last 3 games when you needed it and Edmonton needed it.
It's that. And it's the fact that you haven't looked like yourself.
No, but you did at home in all 3 games.
You didn't look like yourself at home. You went down 3-0 at home, and you gave up a shorty, and you made mistakes, and you had to try to climb back into that game. You haven't looked like yourself, and I think that's where I'm not going to do the whole fan thing. Oh, you've lost hope. I'm a human being, and I've seen a team play totally unrecognizable hockey over the last 3 games, getting played off the ice. They don't have a transcendent guy like Connor McDavid where you can just be like, get us one, pal. Just get us one. And you mentioned the goalie. Bob's numbers in the Stanley Cup final, now that the samples increase, he looked great for a couple of games. Not great. Stuart Skinner's stats went through games 4 through 7. Unbelievable.
He hasn't lost in the playoffs.
He's impossible to eliminate so far. When he's facing that, he always shows up. So Bob, it's weird vibes around Bob right now. He's not practicing for a reason.
Well, you
it's
saying
weird.
not practicing and told him to go home and like he's hiding somewhere?
Yeah,
like
don't have him face media. Like, it's very strange around goalies in this sport.
They gave him the day off. Let's not overstate it.
Okay.
They were just like,
they've
go
tucked
home,
him away
take a
somewhere.
day.
They don't want him to be seen by the public or to see anybody.
Yeah.
They've just tucked him away.
I haven't lost hope in my team. Rah, rah, go Cats, go. I'll be there, and if they go up 1-0, I'll be like, yeah, okay, we got this. But, dude, I don't think that they're going to win tonight.
What?
I don't think that they're going to win. And watching the last,
Why?
because it kind of feels when you're watching on a television screen, that team figured that team out, and it feels so much like that Tampa Bay sweep. It really does, where you're just unrecognizable to the eye. You're breaking all your habits. You're desperate. You're trying to find your way. Momentum is a thing, I guess.
Uncle Mo.
I guess it's a thing. I don't know what's happening right now, but I don't think they're winning.
What are we doing down here, by the way? Like, what are the Panthers and us? I say we because I'm a Panther fan. What are we doing for Game 7? Like, who's singing the anthem? Who's banging the drum?
Marv Levy.
What?
Well, I would assume like
somebody older.
Yeah, we get somebody older and maybe more associated with failure.
Who do we do? Who do we do? I feel like Messi has to do it, right? It's Messi's birthday.
Messi's at Copa America.
Yeah, but that game's tomorrow. You can fly from Miami to New York every 5 minutes. You can get on a bus, train, whatever Kate Taylor did. He got there in a day. He'll make it to that game. You bring out Messi. Messi right now is on what? The hottest team in MLS? Like, they're killing it right now. We're not paying enough attention to them. I've been talking about that.
He's not going to...
Billy, the name that's kind of...
Did you commit to Miami or not? Like, enough of this wishy-washy shit with Messi. I'm so tired of it. One day he's on this team, another day he's on that team. Like, commit or don't commit. Shit or get off the pot, Messi. Like, this city needs you right now. Come bang the drum. What are we going to do? We're going to go to the old, we'll bring in Dwayne Wade to do it. The guy's a Jazz, okay? Like, enough of him. He's a Jazz. He was a Cav. He was a Bull. Enough. If Dwayne Wade's banging that drum, I'm telling you right now, turn off the TV immediately.
What?
No point in even watching it. And if Ariana Grande's not singing the national anthem, we have problems. I'm tired of seeing her and SpongeBob up in the booth, gallivanting around, watching the Panthers. They love it so much. They are such big fans. How about you do your part? You get down here and you sing this nation's anthem, and you make that Canadian dude who sings 4 words and gets paid for a full song every single game.
I don't think he's getting paid.
You put him to shame. You say, you know what? This is the best goddamn anthem on this planet, and I am going to belt it out for free. That's what Ariana needs to be doing, not cheering up there in the booth with her boyfriend.
Who's banging the drum?
I am curious who...
Messi.
Because it's not going to be Messi. He's not in town.
He should be.
Wade is the person that the internet is kind of saying would be cool. Who else? Like, what's the next
Greg
best?
Cody.
I would want Brooks Koepka because
God.
he's day in and day out there. Like he's a true fan.
But
so
they used him like early in the playoffs last year.
They just tried to golf
use
and it
him.
didn't work out
have,
that well.
Have him wear the Ekblad jersey again.
Greg Cody said to me, muttering during the break, out of nowhere, he's like, you better hope that I don't get harmed by anyone after the game tonight if they lose. That would be a liability
We know he's
issue
litigious,
for
Dan.
you.
Well, it's plainly because of this show that some on the fringe, the lunatic fringe, might actually hold me at fault if the Panthers blow this 3-0 lead.
Dan,
and
are you going to
lose.
tell him to be accountable for his own actions too?
I would like the adults around here to stop fearing jinxes and fans beating them up and the superstition of fandom and rise up and not think your team's going to lose over there and think you're going to get beat up over here.
I understand you think it's all very silly. And
I think it's great how silly it is.
Yeah.
I think
But
it's
here,
wonderful. I'll tell you, hold on. Let me just do this so that you understand it, because you say I care differently. I've talked before about how it is that the last 3 years have been unbearably hard. To have something that feels good and takes me away out of that, because I felt a little sick this weekend because everyone's going to laugh at you. I felt a little sick this weekend, and I'm like, God, I'm 55. Why the bleep would I care this way that I don't feel good when I've got an otherwise charmed existence because I care about this stupid thing this way? That's what funds everything we're doing around here, that people care like that.
Yeah, I would say this is not a situation which would make me less superstitious. You actively trying to put up billboards and people planning a parade when we're up 3-0 and then blowing a 3-0 lead is not going to make me feel less superstition. I guess where I'm at is people are going to laugh at us regardless. I just feel like we've given them more to laugh at.
What good is your superstition if you already feel you're going to lose tonight and none of your superstition can rise up and you can't put any magic dust anywhere by wearing Reinhardt's jersey?
Well, damn, I've got a couple superstition levers to pull.
Whoa,
really?
Okay. He didn't wear
What's in your
Reinhardt.
bag?
He didn't wear the Reinhardt jersey, by the way, because laundry didn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So that was what happened. So the Reinhardt jersey was due. He didn't wear it. What did you end up?
I got a couple levers I'm gonna pull.
Why have you been holding out?
I'm not gonna be out here like playing all my cards publicly because that takes away all the powerful juju.
But why wouldn't you play your cards earlier on? Why are we waiting?
No, because you need to save. You got to have some aces up your sleeve because the job's not done.
I think I've gone out to the concession stand. No, I'm saving that for Game 7.
Cody is in a turbulent place, guys. Over the weekend, this is something that happened. It's an actual back and forth exchange I had with Greg Cody. Greg Cody was doing one of his petulant storm around. He emailed me, enough is enough, and started vetoing all sorts of ideas. One of the ideas he vetoed is this photo of him in New Orleans that was dressed and in
Glad
the
you vetoed
street.
that.
Well, he did. He vetoed it. He said, "Well, this photo." He said,
Why are you saying that's me?
Because it is you. It's obviously you.
How about you say that it's someone who looks unsettlingly
No,
like me
no. So
30 pounds ago?
No, for the audience.
Oh,
this
wow,
is,
you're skinnier than this
It's
guy.
a man
Yes.
wearing a purple Speedo. He's got a drink in his right hand. He's wearing a tiger hat of some sort.
Thong Speedo.
He's wearing a long tiger tail and tiger claw slippers. And nothing else. His belly is substantive.
Well,
It is-
paw print pasties, it looks like.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes, so he's got those are paw prints on his nipples.
They appear to be.
Yeah.
Greg Cody
Like
said,
EDE.
enough is enough. I will not allow you to run that photo. But then, because I wrote Greg Cody's foreword to a book that he's
For the
publishing,
love of God.
and he read that foreword and was moved by it, he then allowed me to run the photo after enough is enough of him in New Orleans drinking too much
no.
during Mardi Gras.
Okay, I allowed you to run it to make fun of it, not thinking that you would say that it's me when it isn't me.
It's obviously you.
It's you, Greg.
It's obviously you.
Oh,
The
for
same
the
way
love
it
of
was
God.
Belichick walking out of that Ring doorbell.
Well, that man doesn't have a luscious mustache, so I'm not sure if it's Greg.
Do you know when the last time I was shirtless in public?
Right then. I'm watching
No.
it. We have video proof of
I
it.
wear a shirt in the shower. I am never seen without a shirt.
You're never nude?
Well, occasionally, but normally in the privacy of my own home.
Chris, what's going on with your father that he's firing off an enough is enough to me over the weekend? I don't know what else he was dealing with. He's in a frayed state. He's a little scared of everything that's happening. He wanted all the attention. It was a lot of fun up 3-0 to have all the attention. Less fun at 3-3.
He was going to not come in today and tomorrow over this photo. I'm going to take credit for this. I had to call him and be like, Dad, objectively funny. Stop it.
Okay.
It's not you. No one actually thinks it's you.
Well, he keeps saying it's me.
It's obviously
See?
him.
He keeps saying it's me. That's what's annoying me. That's what's annoying me.
I did show it to my daughter, and she's like, Pop?
Yes, it is
Okay,
Pop.
because you did that at 4 years old, and she doesn't know any better, as opposed to ostensibly the people in this room.
Would you like to retain counsel?
Okay,
He gets so serious about it.
Because it's ridiculous. Because I don't want anyone to think that's actually me. And for him to say that it is, that's what makes me mad. I agreed to let you use that ridiculous photo to make fun of the photo, but to actually say that it's me is absurd. It's an insult to me. It's embarrassing.
You're a Miller Lite drinker. You'd never have a drink like that.
It's fucking embarrassing to me.
Okay, all right. But that forward. I wrote such a lovely photo.
It was beautiful.
And there's another photo that I don't want used. Why are you...
Wait a minute. Don't do that.
That's an invasion of my privacy.
Wait a minute. Don't do that. That's not...
That's an invasion of my privacy. You're taking that in the hospital room right after major surgery.
I'm not laughing
What is this
about
fucking
that.
show
I'm not
doing?
I'm not laughing at that part.
Okay, that photo should never be shown again.
That's
and if
correct.
you're going to show the photo of the guy in New
was
Orleans,
correct.
at least don't say that it's me
That is
when
totally
it isn't
correct.
me.
Is that you in the hospital bed?
Yes. Let's back off. Let's back off. Okay, everyone.
And this is what I mean when I say enough is enough. Okay, I get the show. I'm playing along with all of this, but there is a line to overstep. Don't show me in a hospital room,
Agreed.
and don't claim that that's me when when everybody knows it's me until you start saying it's me.
I agree less with that part, but the first part I absolutely agree with. That was an error. That was a mistake.
Then why are you doing it?
No.
Because I texted Juju over the weekend.
That was a mistake.
And I said, don't show that.
That was a mistake.
So why is the show showing it then?
Because that's our social media department, and then our video department, the messages didn't...
That was an error. A very poorly timed error is
I
what
also
just happened.
rage texted Juju over the weekend.
Everyone is really in a frayed state.
Yeah, you're doing this to
I
us,
can't
pal.
wait till tonight. It's not me. It's sports.
Okay.
I mean, showing it to your granddaughter is another thing. At 4 years old, Connor McDavid was writing letters to Sidney Crosby. It's a very impressionable age.
Greg, that was a mistake. It was an error. I know you're not going to believe it. You're going to think that I'm fooling
really
around. Me and Juju were privy to your complaints this weekend about that photo. No one else was privy to that. And that's why that just happened with truly terrible timing. But you did just remind me where the enough is enough came from.
Right.
And that is where the enough is enough came
And
from.
maybe
So I am sorry.
Okay, but maybe those who were privy to our exchange and my feeling about that photo should have alerted people here who otherwise might have shown the photo.
And if I have a complaint about Meadowlark Media that is profound and enduring for 3 years, it's how poorly everyone communicates around here. Yes, you are correct. It was an error on our part, what just happened, with unspeakably funny but bad timing, that it would appear as you were genuinely...
Because that's a roll of things we had. We didn't put up that hospital thing.
Terrible.
It just happened
it was
to go
terrible
up.
timing, as he is incensed with rage over something that would have been funny right until we crossed the line, which is clearly that's him in New Orleans.
The LSU photo is staying up because that's objectively
It
funny.
looks like you, Greg. The thing that's funny about that photo is it absolutely looks like you. You cannot
Body
dispute
shape.
It does look like
that.
me.
It looks like you.
I am not that fat. I will go on a scale with that guy any day of the week.
I love that.
It could be plausibly argued that is you in a court of law.
That can absolutely work in a court of law.
That's not a court of law.
It's not a court of law. But if I put that photograph in front of a jury of our peers, 12 of them more would say that is you than would say it's not you. They would convict you. Witnesses would say that is you if that was running away from a crime.
The crazy thing is we very well may find out. Because I feel like we're going to see the process server again at some point.
I'm not saying it doesn't look like me. I'm saying it's ridiculous to say it's me. And by the way,
correct.
By the way, I'm in a great mood. No, I
Greg's
am.
right.
I am in a great mood. I am the only one in this room who genuinely believes that the Panthers are going to win the game.
I'm right
Actually,
with you.
Dan's
I'm right
in your
with you.
room, and he's also saying
I'm right with you.
I totally believe.
You said you're the only one in the room.
I looked at all those game logs, and I looked at all of that stuff this year that has played out the way this is played out, which is when those first 3 games go the way they do and Edmonton gets held to 4 goals, what happens in their game logs after that is explosion after explosion, game after game. But what I saw in the last time the Panthers were here and they lost the game, I don't forget that they were pelting Edmonton's net with everything that had been figured out. That game at the end was Edmonton skating backwards saying, please don't end our season because the Panthers were at home. And I'm not saying you're not scared. I'm saying I can't wait till that third period tonight. And if they're down, I don't care that they're down because they've worn down everybody all year on that and they're at home. Am I scared of McDavid? Of course I am. Am I scared of Draisaitl? Of course I am. They're worthy champions too. But this is the first time with this Panther team before it started, before the playoffs started, and I saw all those 100-point teams that I said to you, this is a championship-worthy hockey team. And it is. You guys have been shook by the last 3 games. Do not blame you. Understand. But that's what a desperate champion looks like. Let's go, Florida. Are you one? Are you a desperate champion? Because now the stakes are equal. And you know what? No one's going to laugh at Edmonton if they lose. They're going to laugh at you, echoing and eternal, if you lose this game. Great athletes love those stakes, want those stakes, want McDavid, want the best. Don't want to win this trophy half-assed. Don't want McDavid hurt in the second period. Fans do. Fans want, please, get McDavid out of the game. Fans do. Fans are scared. Not champions. Champions don't do that. Champions want the best, want to take out the best.
In Greg's defense, McDavid did nothing last game.
I'm 4-2 right now.
Yeah.
No, it's 3-3.
No, but me personally.
Yeah.
No, it's 3-3 in that
maximum.
series. You were up 3-2.
Now, Chris tried to give him 1 in the 3-0, but we didn't count that one.
I'm taking the 3 victories and last game.
Greg hoisted the cup.
When he was 0 shots, 0 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 4-2. But I got to win to win. It's all or nothing.
Well, you already won if you're 4-2.
No, but my whole
you lose tonight, you won 4-3.
Yeah, but my whole premise is based on
Today's game counts
overrated
double.
because he's never won a cup. If he wins a cup, he's McProperly rated.
If the Panthers, that's the column you should write tomorrow, by the way. Just like, you know what?
You know what? I upgrade him to McProperly rated.
Right, he would be if he wins.
Yeah,
but if
that's
he,
fair.
Never denied it.
He never denied it.
But
Thank you, Bill.
What if he wins the Conn Smythe Trophy?
No, if he
Oh,
scores.
now that'll be an outrage.
If he scores 6
they
goals
lose.
and loses 7-6, Greg Cody will say he's McOverrated.
You're gonna rant against him winning the Conn Smythe if we win tonight, but
yes.
he
Oh, of course. Of course.
Doesn't he have the most points in postseason history?
It doesn't matter if you don't win.
Not when it counts. Exactly right.
That's his whole career, having the most points and not winning. If it happens again, then that would put the Conn in Conn Smythe.
Well said.
For him to win that trophy.
There's the headline right
without
there.
raising the cup.
There is the headline.
Book it.
Always the bridesmaid.
What am I booking? What am I
The fact
booking?
that would put the Conn in Conn Smythe if he wins that trophy without
So I'm
raising
going
the
to my
cup.
bookie and I'm telling him book this.
Yes.
Wait, so what? He's booking my outrage. It's
Right.
book this.
Yes.
Connor.
Or bank it. Go to your teller.
Exactly right.
So he put the Con in Connor too, right? He'd be putting the Con in Conn Smythe and the Con.
Well, now you, Le Batard said
You
that.
said that,
me.
not Greg. Don't do this thing where now this gets attributed to Greg and he gets unfairly
Dan Le
judged.
Batard just called Conor McGregor
He called
Con.
him exactly
In
right.
Dan's defense, he was
didn't
trying
do
to
it.
put those words in your
Gregor,
mouth.
broken
I know
pinky
he
out.
was, and my lips were sealed that time.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Have you called Connor McDavid Connor McGregor in the last?
I
couple,
have.
In the last couple, you just did.
Oh, did I? that actually got in print.
I know it got in print.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a typo
In your column?
Yes.
Yeah,
you
but
called
I-
Connor McGregor.
Yeah, but I switched it out. I
switched
corrected
it,
it
yeah.
online.
It was a perfect typo.
It
That
was
Connor is a
perfect
little
typo.
overrated.
Yeah. I think Chael Sonnen owes Conor McGregor an apology.
He
by
owes
the
a lot
way.
of people an apology, to be honest.
So Connor Mick properly rated is what's on stake at stake tonight.
Yes. If he raises the cup, he all of a sudden has lived up to the ridiculous expectations, and he would be McProperly rated.
I can't keep anything in my stomach right now. I have to go poop.
I know No, it's.
I have to go poop again.
Okay, it's a few hours away, and it's how everybody's stomach is
That's
here
the show,
in
right?
South
We wrapped?
Florida.
Done?
We wrapped?
Mike Ryan's stomach is genuinely upset, and that's just getting started. Greg Cody's rage is genuinely upset, and that seems to just be getting started. Emotions here are they are antsy. They are troubled. Billy, I see the smirk on your face.
Vibes are good today.
Billy, I feel like you're secretly rooting for the Panthers to lose.
No, why? I'm a Panthers fan.
Yes, I know.
I'm from South Florida.
Yes, publicly.
Go Ice Cats.
You like FIU's Panthers?
Pause up. That's right. Tony has a bone to pick with FIU. We can get to that later.
We're at a standoff at me and FIU.
What happened?
Be careful.
Dan.
Don't mess things up for me.
Dan Le Batard. Me, if you can think of this as an old Western, right? FIU standing outside in the middle of that like long hallway,
Tumbleweed.
right? Tumbleweed. I'm there.
Is it a classroom? Is it a classroom?
It's not
hallway?
a classroom. It's like that dirt road where the
in the middle of town.
Since it's Miami, the tumbleweed is just the Flanagan's tumbleweed onion.
It's
thing
just a
going
big
by.
bale of Coke. So I kick open the door, right? I step out of the
Wait,
saloon.
are you inside or outside?
I'm inside, but I'm kicking the
Got
door
it.
of the saloon.
That wing.
Generally, we kick into a room.
No, he's kicking out because
we
he
rarely
knows there's a
kick out.
standoff.
Saloon doors are.
But usually
it's
usually the sheriff entering
no,
the
but they
saloon.
go both
No,
ways.
I
They
know,
go
but
both
it's
ways.
rarely
Right.
you get the out.
Yeah, but you
Remember
can't get it coming
remember
in.
when saloon doors were a fixture in homes, usually into the kitchen? Greg, you remember
Yes,
that?
I
Oh,
do.
I miss those days.
I like those.
A simpler time.
Yeah.
It gave just enough privacy.
Let me ask you, did any of you guys have in your grandparents' home when you were young, instead of a door, just like beads that came down from the top of
bead
the
door?
doorway? That would just it would create distance between the two rooms. Was that a Hispanic thing, or was that what was that? Was that unique
I don't
to
think so.
anybody's
I
childhood?
think the Brady's had that.
That's associated with shag carpeting.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
know.
a '70s
Yeah,
thing.
it's a
sort of
70s
it's a
thing.
hippie thing.
Or
The-
Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost.
Yes.
When I bought my house, I had to take one of those down. Sad day. Didn't want to get rid of it. Had to.
I associate it with Hispanic, though. It's not Hispanic.
Well,
It's
that's
not-
because they're in Miami.
Yeah, Jim Martz had beads in his house. God
Kick
rest
open the
his
saloon
soul.
door. Psh. I walk out there. I'm in my Western garb. I'm kind of doing this walk right here. FIU. The entire FIU is just right in front of me.
We got the picture. You've painted it.
We're at a standoff right now.
Is it a building you're up against, or like the president?
It's the president. It's
Jessup.
all of the
Oh,
workers.
careful.
It's
He's
everybody.
a nice man.
The IT department mostly. But I'm standing there, both hands next to my holsters.
We got it. You're facing off.
Hold on, he's
FIU.
painting a picture.
Painting a picture,
Painting
guys.
a picture
More
here.
clearly painted.
Speaking of-
It's
I'm
like
a
an
bit
oil
confused.
painting. It goes slowly.
Speaking of beads, incidentally, and I want to get back to this, Joe Mazzulla prays with rosary beads that are made out of the actual parquet floor in Boston. Continue.
Speaking of beads, that guy in New Orleans probably had some around his
Yeah,
neck.
Greg Cody?
He had
Not
some all-
Greg.
He
not
had some
Greg.
all over the place.
Be clear.
Anyways, so I'm looking at the IT department. They send
What?
me an email. What? They sent me an email saying, we're deleting your account.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
June 25th, your email account with us will no longer be valid. We will be deleting it.
You haven't used it? Because
I
you
have
haven't
been using it like a mother.
So why? Why are they doing that?
I don't know. I don't
Too
know,
much
but
use.
that's the issue.
Overuse.
That's the standoff. How is it that I'm using your domain's edu? Like, hey, I'm a proud graduate of the school. I'm emailing people. I'm doing business. I'm shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all this stuff with FIU edu as my domain address. And now you want to take it away from me? I've got Papa John's there. I've got Panera there.
Yeah.
I've probably got Domino's there. I got McDonald's app. I've got Uber. I've got all my different apps into that one thing.
Who do
So-
you have to call to get this?
You can't. I told him this happened to me.
This happened to Billy.
I actually got locked out, and every account that I signed up for with, I have like apps. Like I have this gas app, this Upside app that I've used,
Great
where I
app.
go and I scan it, and you get 10 cents off, right? But you don't really get 10 cents off. You pay the full amount, but then they credit you the 10 cents per gallon, right? So if your car's 16-gallon tank, that's $1.60 you get back. It lives in this app until you cash out. What happened to old Billy Gill? He signed up for it with his college email. And then he got locked out of his email. So now I have damn near $107 that I can't get out of that account because every time I try to log into the app and say, hey, send it to me like in a Walmart gift card, an Amazon gift, because those are the options, or send it to my banking, whatever. It's like, okay, we're going to send a confirmation to your email. And I said, I don't have that email. Can I switch my email? No, you cannot. So I'm stuck. I'm out like $107.28 that are just sitting in that app. And I'm telling Tony, you better start unloading those emails right now. You need to start switching when you can because They're not playing around. When they switch email servers, it's gone. You have
Can't
like
we
12
rattle
hours
their
to change.
cages at all? Can't
Well,
we
we rattle the cage, but that's
yeah.
on Saturdays.
That's on Saturdays, yeah,
Sometimes
in the fall.
Tuesdays now because of the situation that they're in.
I know a
Or
good law
Wednesdays.
firm if you guys need one.
I may need one because it might be Kaladiud v. FIU.
Here's
because
my question that I want to know, and I'm a proud Panther. Sometimes, I'll call some games for them. I try to do my
You're
part.
wearing
I try
now.
to-
You're wearing
Oh, I
how
am. I
much
didn't even notice
Panthers
that.
gear are you wearing?
That
right
you
now?
can see just a hoodie. So, anyways, I'm a proud Panther.
That's
I
gotta be
go and
tough.
I try to raise awareness, but I also like to say what's just and what's unjust at times. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to rattle the cages. You're trying to paint me out to do. I don't know why I stand on my leg was falling asleep. The point is this, okay? Tony, myself, I don't know who else would consider themselves a proud alum.
I had one of those email addresses.
Of the great Florida International University. When I would send out emails, I would send it out with pride, with Panther pride, if you will, at my Guillermo, whatever it was, at FIU.edu. I don't want to tell you in case I reactivate. I don't want a bunch of people knowing my emails. But I would send it out with pride, the at FIU.edu, much like many Harvard grads send things out with their at Harvard.edu. And I don't see much of a difference between the two, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Whether you got an email from an at Harvard.edu and at FIU.edu, not much of a difference. But I bet you dollars to donuts that Pablo Torre still uses his at Harvard.edu, and he's 1,000,000 years old.
Dork.
And he's still using it. How's that possible? Why can't I spread my Panther pride year after year,
Is it
decade
10
after
years?
decade?
Is that what's happening? 10 years?
I don't
5
know.
years?
It's
is there
exactly
some-
10 years since I graduated. so
Dude,
it's-
checkmate them. Go sign up for a class today. Go sign up for a class today, and then they can't take it
Then
away from
drop
you,
it.
and then drop it tomorrow. You got to checkmate them. Go sign up for
The
a summer class.
standoff.
Exactly right. This is how you win in a shootout. You go out there, and they're expecting a gun. And what do you have? A computer where you register for ENC 1102.
I passed that one already, though.
I bet they didn't do this to
I
T.Y.
doubt
Hilton.
So
T.Y. Hilton's a whole other story. What the hell's his son doing going to Wisconsin? Okay? There's nothing going on in Wisconsin. Respectfully to the great people of Wisconsin.
Respect the legacy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dan?
Edgerrin James's son is at Cincinnati. You go where it is that the scholarships are, where the availabilities are. I don't know if FIU was offering T.Y. Hilton's.
No, they were. They were in the final six, I believe. Maybe he found out about the email situation.
Wisconsin's offering you, I think.
Do you see a scenario in which Wisconsin offers him a scholarship and FIU's like, you know what, he's just not there yet.
Maybe
for us.
Wisconsin offered him a lifetime email, and that's what happened.
You can have him. We don't see him as a Sun Belt player or Conference USA.
How do you turn down FIU's football
That's
legacy?
what I'm
though?
asking.
You know, that big
Out of the
program.
cage.
I think
Been a
Frank-
big program for a long time.
Frank Gore also has a son that's in Wisconsin.
What's going on there?
Greg Cody, Wisconsin's got a good program.
Badger power.
Come on.
I mean, who's their quarterback?
9-4 every year.
Exactly. Well, now with the
Really?
expanded playoff, you're going to get in. Pity invites.
You guys, wait a minute. You're going to say that Wisconsin doesn't have a good
Wisconsin
football
sucks.
I
program?
mean, I look at the
Exactly.
goalie.
Barry Alvarez still there?
Have they had corn something? Or is that Nebraska? What is Wisconsin?
They're the Iowa of Wisconsin.
He's exactly right about that.
Wisconsin's the Iowa of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these boring Midwest teams. You know, run the ball 1,000 times with Jonathan Taylor.
One more time so I can get it.
Jonathan.
They're the Iowa of
The Iowa of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is the Iowa of Wisconsin.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. You
Greg
can't argue
Cody's
with
podcast, The Greg Cody Show, featuring Greg Cody. He has been trying to, the entire show, he says that he has something on his podcast that's going to enrage Mike Ryan and delight me. So what is it that you're doing on The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody?
Well, you have to listen to it to believe it, because this shocked me. But Paul Maurice, through one of his PR people, gets in touch with me a few days ago and asked me to address the team.
Oh, wow.
To give the team a little pep talk, preparatory to the biggest Game 7 in the history of the biggest Game 7s. And so I did. And so my address to the Cats is heard live and exclusively.
It's not live.
Well, that's true. It isn't, but it is
Shot to
exclusively
tape.
in a special Hard Knocks hockey.
It was like our
yeah.
Greg's Lobos Hard Knocks. Like, you know how Hard Knocks has a bunch of different variations. We got an off-season Hard Knocks.
Right.
I do wish
Ran
I
out of
could.
breath there.
I'm going to listen to that because I do wish I could enjoy this a little bit more than I could. It is.
Thank you.
It is pretty crazy. I wasn't 9 years old during that Rangers run against the Canucks, and I felt the enormity of that as it was, but I was only 9 years old. This would generally, and I hope that they win so we can look back and say, wow, what a cool time. I don't think I'd look back on it, wow, what a cool time. I don't think I'd be able to separate myself from the pain if they actually make history and blow this.
Yeah.
But this is the biggest hockey game of our lifetime.
I'm stunned that you're going in expecting them to lose. I don't know if you're trying to manage your expectations in the thoughts that you're going to dilute the disappointment, which you're not.
No, I'm not gonna. No, me preparing myself for loss is not gonna make it hurt less. I don't think. And I do, like, people know how much I care, and I'd like to thank everybody that didn't text me over the weekend because they knew, like, what kind of state I was in. Dude, all the blood left my face, and I don't think it's come back yet. I am a zombie.
It is a terrifying thing, and I love terror with your sports. I love caring so much that it is unreasonable, caring so much that you have a hard time getting it out of your head. Chris Cody, how was your weekend? Swear to you that Friday night, what happened Friday night, I imagine that people who care about that team locally had a shitty weekend because of what happened Friday night. Almost nothing else is going to fix that it felt shitty to you all weekend. Do I have this wrong, Chris?
It's been a terrible weekend, Dan. I've been trying. My wife has just been like, "What's wrong with you?" And she knows what's wrong with me. My wife is dreading the game because she knows how I am during these games.
Sell that ticket, man.
I'm not selling the ticket, Billy. But
what's your price? Is it $10,000?
I'll do $10,000 for both. Fuck it.
What'd you do, 9.5?
$10,000 for both.
$7,500.
9.5, man. Come on. How can you say no to 9,500?
Nah, I gotta be there. I'm already regretting.
You
saying
can
that.
buy tickets upper deck. I'm telling you, get in.
I want to be upper. I want to be with my people. Like I got my people around me. Like I've been here for 3 years.
the upper deck people are more fun.
No.
Yeah.
You're expecting to be down 3-1 and chasing scared all game?
You said you wouldn't be nervous if the Panthers were down going into the third. One goal. Will you at least give me that? We can't be down by more than one. If we're down by more than one.
They were down 4-2 last time at home, and I thought they were going to win the game. And they made it 4-3, 5 minutes inside of the third period, and then they just spent the rest of the period pelting Edmonton. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, they're going to do what they've been doing all season. I'm really stunned that you guys have lost faith when the sample size is more than 90 games on you have the best third period team, and the last 3 games have erased 90 games for you guys.
Skinner's due for a bad game. He's had great games. He's due. That's the way the hockey gods work. I have a question for you, Greg. When Coach Maurice invited you in, what day did you give the speech? Was it yesterday?
I want to say it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So Sergei Bobrovsky was not there.
No, he was not there.
Wow. So that's a big question mark in this game. You made a big bounce back game.
Yeah, they gave Badkowski
I think in the speech though, you say to him, "Hey Bob, how's it going?"
Yeah, well, I assumed he was there.
Expected him to be there as a team player.
There's a couple of guys.
Big room though.
A couple of guys on the team look a little bit like Bob, from a distance.
Imagine just to put things into perspective. Sergei Bobrovsky getting the game off is as though you're in the middle of a 7-game series and you give the goalie the day off before the biggest game of the season.
The practice off.
Yeah, the practice.
Okay. But he was the first one on the ice. Roy is there at Bill Seidel's Nissan. He is there.
I want to laugh, but where they came from was so bad. I want to defend it. I'm like, no, it's better, but it does look a lot like a dealership.
It's not even an insult.
But it's so nice. It's like the nicest facility in the NHL.
I don't understand what you guys are doing. The new car dealerships all over South Florida are beautiful.
Especially Williamson Cadillac.
They're just sort of antiseptic glass wall new buildings, and they look like all the other buildings. That's the only point I'm making. I'm not doing anything else there. But Roy is there near the action, and he reports exclusively that Bob was the first one on the ice tonight. They are no longer hiding their goalie. Their goalie is no longer a fugitive, being hidden from fandom and the authorities, and he is out on the ice. And whatever it is that Mike thinks Bob is doing with scrambled egg for brains because it's Game 7 and Edmonton is scary, he is now out in public in front of people. They are no longer hiding the goalie.
I trust Paul Maurice to know how to manage this situation with Bobrovsky better than I do. it just all kind of feels like it's
It
such a
seems
strange.
like a lot. It seems like a lot.
It's such a strange position. No one knows what's going to work. And the one thing that I felt like pretty certain about it was like, wow, for the first time in the postseason, I think they have a goalie advantage. And Stuart Skinner, who's been pulled at points I think at one point he had the worst save percentage for a goalie that had been that far in postseason history. And for whatever reason, games 4 through 7, he's been lights out. And Bob, who hasn't had many games in the Stanley Cup, his Stanley Cup stats are really bad. And that's with having 2 like dynamite remember for all time games.
Yeah, I feel like them giving Bob a day of rest smelled like a little bit of a desperation to me. All of the line tweaking that Paul's been doing the past week, it just feels a little bit desperate. Maybe it should. Maybe desperation is required. But when all of a sudden you're giving Bob a day off, it just felt a little.
I like desperate. Let's. How about we just make it all maximum desperate? Everyone's maximum desperate. We've got maximum of all of the motivation, effort. There's no bulletin board material. Anybody could say whatever they want. We're all ratcheted up to the place where this is the maximum of all of it. This is the thing that everybody's been dreaming about. Panther fans for 30 years. These guys play for the Panthers their entire lives. They've been dreaming about being in this scenario, scoring this goal since they thought about being hockey players for a living.
There was one person that was reaching out to me a lot. And thankfully, I think they finally got the message yesterday and they left me alone. It was David Sampson, who genuinely does this. He wants to see how I'm doing.
He called me worried that you were suicidal.
What? I think that's a no. We're not joking about that. No, I'm totally fine.
He thought you went dark.
I was Chat GPTing nihilist responses, which might have been why he was scared. Yeah, Chris has access to the group chat where I was not in a good place, but no, not making light of it. I was fine, but I think he kind of offered me a ticket to Game 7.
What? Take it.
I said no. I don't,
Why?
because no matter what happens tonight, and I like David. This is not a shot at David. I just want to experience it next to my wife. She's been there with me for like this ride. I'd stay for one game in New York that I went to with Chris. I just want to be, no matter what, if this is going to be the extreme highs or the extreme lows, I want to be with my wife. So I turned down what I think was an offer for a ticket. I wasn't exactly sure because I didn't even want to consider it all that much.
It was an offer for a ticket, and he called me worried that you were in an incredibly dark place, and if I had checked on you.
No, I think because you knew not to text me, which I appreciate. Really, I do. I'm really, really shook by this. I told you on Friday, that was no bullshit. That was a legit part of Mike right there. I want this title more than I've ever wanted any pro sports title because the actual connection. There's not a lot of connection points this market has to it. I went to a job fair when I was in high school. The Panthers were the only organization that hit me back. I met with every single team. I was a sales. I ruined my eyesight putting the white pages into Excel. I was there. I saw so many of my friends lose their jobs. I didn't even get a hockey season when I was over there interning. And all of that was built from the 1996 Cup run that made me a fan seemingly for life until Michael Yormark kind of beat it out of me in ways that David Sampson kind of beat out baseball fandom. And I got it back. I finally got it back. I finally had a team that I could identify with. I love Matthew Tkachuk. Like, he's part of my own family. These runs, there's nothing like a deep cup run. And to be the butt of every joke forevermore, because the teams that you hold up as examples of chokers, they're not of an era that anyone has a connection to.
But Mike, you win tonight, you will remember all of that forever. This will be the most magical night of your sports life.
Yep.
If you win it, because of how vulnerable you are. Yep. You're in front of the audience, which is growing in legion in front of us today because everybody wants to taste these tears. The idea that this could go from Celtics being up 3-0, Panthers being up 3-0, to Celtics celebrating the title and us asking which would be funnier, which blown lead would be funnier. And now only one group is left after that parade with 1 million people in the fights that have been in both sports, hockey and basketball, Miami and Boston for 5 years in basketball, for 2 years in hockey. The idea that everyone can turn around and laugh at you and know that you're exposed on vulnerability. You can laugh at everybody at the end of tonight in a Game 7 that you have at home, that if you win or lose it, you're going to remember it forever, but it'll be the most fulfilling thing you've ever felt if you win?
I think I'd feel relief first and foremost from it. And you've always maintained it, and I've always bucked against it. Look, I would have preferred this thing be over in 4. But what you remember from these championships, you remember that Thunder series? The Heat lost the first game, and then they won in 5. Yeah. And what we remember in terms of the pit in our stomach sphere, it's always that LeBron image. Yep. That's the lasting image from that title.
You remember the details about Game 6 and Ray Allen. You don't remember the details about Game 7. Maybe you know that Wade and LeBron did
I know Bosh
scoring.
didn't do shit. I know Bosh
had a big
didn't.
elbow jumper, by the way. Big
elbow jumper.
Yeah, the LeBron
Big
elbow jumper. I know Bosh didn't do stuff. Battier recalibrated his three-point shooting. I remember the details. You remember that Game 6 and Game 7 because of the fear that you had in Game 6. You remember the other final, the one that was a house money final for the Miami Heat, more because you didn't really fear the Oklahoma City Thunder. That stuff does form and fortify these championships to the point that it means more. If you fear, and the Panthers have had a relatively charmed postseason, if you have the fear that everything is over, then yeah, that gets made, and all of that crashed on top of me Friday.
Yep.
Friday night, Chris Cody was at the hockey bar. I had all my friends. I was so amped and I was so primed. And I told you, I thought I could guarantee that the Panthers would have a good effort. They didn't play well. Their effort wasn't there. And now all these ghosts I'm seeing there, and I was haunted, dude. I was haunted. I was pale. People kept trying to console me. Chris, you tried to console me. I wasn't moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was despondent too. I mean, I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I got a text sometime on Saturday, and I thought everybody just left the bar in the same way that I did, which was I called my Uber, I put my head down. I even said an Uber, like the pickup was at another person's house. I was just like a zombie. And then I caught wind of how difficult this was for you and how hard you took this loss. This is video from moments after the Florida Panthers lost Game 6. Here is Chris Cody. You could almost see the tears in his eyes at 11. At 11 nightclub.
Come on.
Just really.
What is happening here?
They have a huge wall graphic that says, "Welcome to Dan Le Batard Show." Look at Chris Cody. He is so sad.
Look at that.
He is a broken man.
Jesus, Greg. Oh, that's your son.
Look,
Greg.
when Izzy Gutierrez offers you a free entry, what are you going to do? What are you going to say, no?
Look at Chris Cody, not broken at all at the end of Friday's game. Look at the smile on his face. Look at how pleased he is with everything happening in his
He's trying
life.
to describe how Connor McDavid is moving across the blue line. He is being misunderstood right now. He is not in a good place right there. He just turned to the vice of Miami nightlife.
He looks so sad that the Panthers lost.
You can barely make out his eyes.
Greg,
they're so red and watery.
Where are you as you have to get out of here? You've asked to be let go because this has been a couple of years of crazy deadline work for you. Last year was unprecedented. 2 8 seeds get to the final in both sports and beat 1 seeds. They do things that you weren't expecting, and you were exhausted by the end of last playoffs. These have been easier because the Heat have not been having dueling games, but you seem just as exhausted.
I'm a little mentally exhausted more than physically. I'm ready for it to be over. But what you all said, the joy of winning tonight is pretty obvious. What's brutal about the opposite is that if the Panthers lose tonight, there's no way to rationalize it. There's no way to see a silver lining. It's going to be nothing but eternal dejection. It's an epic loss. You're not even allowed to say, well, 2 finals in a row is pretty good. There's going to be none of that if they lose this game.
There should be.
There should be.
Oh, I'm going to say
there should be. Perspective. No. Perspective is going to be trampled tonight if they lose, and that's sad. And I'll probably spend a couple of paragraphs saying just that, but nobody cares. If you lose tonight, There is no perspective. There is no.
There's
silver
no
lining.
immediate. There's no immediate perspective. There's not going to be anyone who cares about the Panthers who's going to be able to watch the coverage or get up off of their knees for a week. Like, perspective will come, but it will come later because this has been a great season. The fact that they're one of two teams playing one game for everything, I will not minimize that, but it is a big difference between the joy that is on Chris Cody's face when he's on 11 and total despair because everyone's laughing at him.
On 11 what?